Greetings everyone. In this video we will look at how to display data and change their appearance in the 3D window. Of course, one of the most important things you can do in a data-centered software package is to look at your data, so let's start with that. Notice, while scrolling through the Input and Models pane, that there are different kinds of selection toggles. White square boxes, round radio buttons, yellow square boxes, and some objects might not even have any selection box at all. Under certain contexts, you might even see blue square boxes. In short, these are what you select to visualize data within a specific window. White square selection boxes are pretty simple, actually. When you select the box, the data will display in the window. Notice also that the folders containing data also have white selection boxes as well. When you select these, you will turn on all of the data within that folder. You can also use a shift select method to turn on multiple objects simultaneously. To do this, highlight one object, hold down your shift key, then highlight another. Finally, toggle on one of the highlighted objects and Petrel toggles on the rest. White radio buttons come up with parts of objects that cannot be simultaneously displayed. For example, 3D model properties. Because they occupy the same space, you can only render one at a time. Hence, when you turn one on, the other is automatically turned off. Yellow square boxes indicate filters. These are not Petrel objects themselves, but rather they represent subsets of a group of objects. For example, global well logs. If you toggle on a mnemonic here, Petrel will display all logs with the same mnemonic. The zone filter for 3D models is another example. This filter will toggle on or off all of the cells in a property corresponding to the geologic zones you select here. Be careful with this though. If you toggle off all the zones in the filter, then you will render the entire model properties invisible. Speaking on filters, you might occasionally run into objects with purple text. This is an indication that you have some kind of filter applied to that object. In this particular example, we have a value filter applied to this cell height model property, which turns off all cells with a cell thickness of less than 110 feet. Now, I've not applied any layering to this model yet other than creating zones, hence the large layer thickness. I will speak more on property filtering display in a future video. Finally, there are times when you might see a blue checkbox and radio button icons in the Explorer panes. Petrel has a family of objects called intersection planes. These planes allow you to create cross-sections of your objects through 3D space by projecting objects into the plane instead of just rendering them in a 3D window. Now, when you enable projection mode, the display boxes of all intersection plane supported objects turn blue. When you check them on, they will only project into the intersection. I will provide an in-depth discussion on intersection planes in a future video. Okay, so we have some data on display in the 3D window. Great. Now, how do we change their appearance? Well, this can be done in several ways. One is to right-click on the object in the window. This brings up a context menu and a mini toolbar. The mini toolbar contains common tool palettes and processes related to that object, as well as the display settings. If you get lost with the icons, just remember you can hover over any icon and Petrel will give you an on-display pop-up explaining the button. The context menu below the mini toolbar also contains a lot of useful functions. What you see here will depend on the object you select. Anyway, let's open the well style settings. These are found in the parent settings icon because we control well display settings based on the folder the wells are in. What we change here will affect all of the other wells inside of the same folder as the one we selected. So under the Style tab, we can change things like the color of the well path, the line thickness, the size and color of the well symbol and label, and even add a depth track to the side. When satisfied, press Apply or OK for the changes to take effect. Now, to alter the display settings of a surface, you again right-click on the surface in the window and select Settings. Inside the Style tab, you can change things like the contour interval, the line width, labeling, as well as the coloring method and the transparency. The Colors tab shows you the current color table used for the display and allows you to switch it out with other color tables. Just select the color table from the list that you like and then hit OK. Again, to apply the settings, select OK or Apply. Another useful tool for display and really data interrogation in general is the Inspector tool. So you can find this guy in the Home tab, and it looks like a magnifying glass wearing a fedora. The tool looks very unassuming on first inspection, but as soon as you click on an object, the inspector is filled with gadgets that give readouts including statistical information, pick location, and some simple style settings for that object. The gadgets you see will depend on what kind of object you select. When I'm on a multi-monitor display, I like to have the inspector open on the side so that I can access statistical information and simple display settings with a click of a mouse. In this video, we looked at how to display data and some basic display settings using the 3D window. In UI Part 3, I will cover some ways to customize and simplify the UI. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment below if you have any questions or feedback for future videos.